Hey, everybody. This is Scotty Schwartz. You know, Flick from A Christmas Story. I triple dog dare you to continue to listen to Bobby and Jason's awesome 80s podcast.
Heidi-ho!
Heidi-ho! We are here live in Las Vegas on tape, my brother.
That's right, my man. Give me some skin. Woo!
Can you hear that? My
That's
name
right.
is Bobby Catalano, and over there is...
Jason Pasco.
And we are Bobby and Jason's awesome 80s podcast.
Yes, we decided to only have one episode of the dumbest podcast.
Yeah, we did one, and we're out.
Yeah, we're done. That's enough for us.
So what's been going on with you?
Oh, just,
I noticed you had a little rant the other day.
Yeah, well, things get under my skin. I happened to be out. We went out, and where was I? I went to Sam's.
Sam's Club?
Sam's Club and Smith's. So these are two of our, everybody knows
Yes.
Sam's, but here in the West, Smith's.
Right. Smith's is a like a supermarket chain.
Yeah, and I just saw them. It was October 1st.
You saw the Christmas trees and all
Yes.
the goodies. Yeah, man, it's way too early for that shit.
October 1st, man. I was just, it's still here. It's still blazing hot, everybody out there. And just to see those Christmas trees just after, you see the Halloween candy
Right.
and you see Christmas trees.
It doesn't make any sense, man. It's all about marketing, making money. Christmas is all about, money.
Cha-ching.
Exactly. I noticed a lot of fans on the Facebook page agreed with you.
Yeah.
People were posting. I actually posted some pictures myself that I found. I found Christmas cookies.
Oh, I saw that.
What the hell is that about?
know. Yeah, and everybody out there in listening land, when I put the little parentheses on the Facebook page, it said it was me posting. So
It was him.
yeah, there's only one person that can post, and it's Bob, because you guys know me. I don't hang out on social media. I'm kind of like backwards. So
He's getting better with it.
I'm working on it, kids.
So, you want to recap a little bit of 14?
14
Was last week.
Yes.
We talked about our boys Wham.
Yeah.
You were a little confused about the second album.
Yeah, I couldn't. I was
You were
like,
just-
oh my god,
Jason was glitching out.
what happened to? Yeah, what happened to Edge of Heaven?
Forgot all about that one.
How do you even do a show with me, man? I don't know.
But
Yeah,
it's good to talk about George Michael. I mean, he was such a big part of our lives.
yeah,
so
such a big part of our lives, and everybody that
follows us.
follows us knows that's what we're good for.
I don't know if we mentioned this, that he wrote us a letter back
did
in the
write
day.
us a letter.
And Dave Raymond, who was the first host of Dance Party USA, the show, he read the letter on the air, and it's fucked up, bro. I think I misplaced it. I don't even know where.
You got
I
it
know.
somewhere.
I should have it framed, right?
Yeah, you've got like a bunker. He's got like a bunker where he's got like all his
I
mail.
need to dig that up so I could scan it and show everybody. Man.
What was it? Somebody said that you should do a lip sync too, and I had to leave a little snarky comment. And I said, yeah, he should redo it. It would be great.
Oh man, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Maybe we could find some stuff down there. But hopefully everybody out there is in the Halloween spirit. Speaking of Halloween spirit, man, I know you like to dress up for Halloween. I love dressing up
Yeah,
for
man,
Halloween.
it's fun.
But
It's fun.
one thing we're not going to be this year is clowns, right?
Oh, the crazy clowns in the street harassing peeps.
It's like a Clockwork Orange or something. I think in some sick way that it is all some type of promotion
Right?
for the new It movie.
Oh, so that's
That's my idea. Because look, you don't see on the news any killer clowns. You just hear these one or two little incidents.
It's messed up though. It's affecting like real clowns who do business. Like, kids have parties and the clown would show up and everybody. Now, like, nobody wants to hire clowns.
Well, I don't know why anybody would want to anyway.
I mean, not even a happy clown. So
You got to be but inside any happy clown that's doing a kid's party. He's a
man.
crazy person.
maybe one day we'll dress up as clowns.
Oh, I don't know about it. But I've heard that you get arrested. You're not allowed to be one
Yeah.
for Halloween.
Well,
But I think, like I said, a marketing thing, like when they used to have those lights on the sneakers, I think they came out in the 80s, like those
Yeah.
little flashing LED lights, and they'd be like, kid lost is
Yeah.
found.
Oh,
And you
man.
find out it's really a marketing arm for, Reebok or
So
something.
by the way, this is episode 15. I don't know if we even said that. Kind of we just blew through that. Got to the Christmas shit.
Bob and I are just like two chatty
But
caddies
anyway,
here.
speaking of Christmas, we have a special guest coming up, and
Yes, we do.
everybody knows who he is because he was in the intro.
Yes, he was.
He double dog dared you, brother.
Exactly. Well, he double dogged each and every one of you.
That's
to listen
right.
to this.
And I'm sure everybody knows who we're talking about. And he's coming right up.
Yes, he is. Well, I like the way you make that sound, though. So we did do a pre-tape of it, because we told you about it last episode.
Right.
But yeah, Scotty Schwartz, just a cool dude, man.
Yeah,
he's a dude. He's just totally
Scott
cool.
Schwartz is a real dude, real down to earth, real nice guy. And he's working on a lot of cool projects. He's going to talk about them.
Yeah, and you guys get a chance to check this out. So I know as everybody's getting ready for the marathons of A Christmas Story, most people out there know all the words. So this is going to be quite a treat for each and every one of you, we think, because, he lets us in on the inside scoop
Yep.
of what went on behind. So
Let's do it.
let's roll it. Now this is a treat, don't you think?
It is. I've been talking to this guy for a couple days, and let me tell you, he's very cool, really laid back dude, and I'm sure a lot of you remember him.
I'm sure you all remember him.
He was in a little movie called A Christmas Story. He was also in another small film called The Toy.
The Toy.
With Richard Pryor and Jackie Gleason. And we are talking about
Scotty Schwartz.
Scotty Schwartz. How you doing, brother?
How you doing?
How you doing?
There you go, a Jersey guy.
He's got
Love
that.
it.
He's got that accent going and everything.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Enzo and Cass from WWE. So Enzo's got this thing, where he's just like, "How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?"
Doing.
Exactly. Very famous. So you're a big wrestling fan.
Yeah, I worked for them I worked for them. I ring crewed for about 16 months. It was the greatest non-paying job I ever had.
Hey man, when you're a fan of anything, you'll do it for cookies, for nothing,
Yeah, I mean, I met Big John Studd. If you remember him, he used to be the guy that used to face Andre the Giant all the time.
Oh yeah, I know
And,
exactly what it is. Yeah.
Of course.
Met him in an audition, and I knew wrestling. My mom was a fan of wrestling. My dad couldn't stand it, but my mom was a big fan. And so talked to him, invited us. He's like, "Hey, yeah, anytime you want to come and see me, let me know. Here's my home phone number." And went and saw him, and then started meeting all the guys. And the next thing you know, I had a non-paying job.
That's awesome. And I remember those guys like Piety Piper. Was that his name? Am I saying it right?
Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper, yeah.
That's when it was really big back then. Superfly Snuka.
And Hulk, the Hulk Hogan, right?
Yeah, Rowdy Piper was like a second dad. We were very, very close.
No
for
kidding.
Many years, almost 30 years, and then he passed on. And, but that was my era. Randy Macho Man Savage and Miss Elizabeth, which I have a little 18-month-old mini teacup chihuahua, and she's named after Miss Elizabeth.
That is so cool.
Brutus Beefcake and Hulk Hogan and,
Man.
just an assortment of guys that became my friends. And I was out of it for a while and then met Jerry the King Lawler. And Lawler kind of dragged me back in. And then I got to see some of my old friends, my ring crew buddies, and saw the McMahons. And
Wow.
Stephanie kind of looked at me like, "I know you, but I'm not sure."
You're that
And
guy.
Exactly.
I told her, I do stuff for your dad. And she's like, "Oh, my God, I remember you. My dad talked about you. Oh, my God." And now it's, they're like a big second family of cousins that I see here and there.
That's awesome, man. Well, let's take it back to the 80s. Let's talk about that Christmas Story. How did you land that role?
Easiest audition I ever had.
Whoa.
How's that?
Whoa.
What did you do? You just showed up?
Honestly, that's pretty much all I had to do. The Toy had opened in the movie theaters already. A couple of weeks before I met up with Bob Clark, the director of Christmas Story. So he had seen the movie already, and he just wanted to shoot the crap, shoot the bull. I walked in. "How you doing? Nice to meet you." We talked for a bit. He says, "I'm really hungry." I said, "Okay." So you want to go out for a dirty water dog, for a hot dog? I said, "Sure." We went outside. My dad came. We had a hot dog. We continued to chit-chat. We came back in. He said, "I got to tell you, it was really nice to meet you. Thanks for coming in." That was it.
That's sweet.
That's it?
That's
And then
easier than that.
So you got the job immediately.
Oh, within 10 minutes, I walked up to my agent's office. And he had already called and said, "Oh yeah, Scotty got the movie, no problem." That was it.
That's awesome. So Flick was born in that moment.
Exactly. Flick was made over a bread hot dog and a condition of you.
Wow, that's awesome, man. So now the movie's played over and over again in December, and sometimes they do 24 hours.
October. It starts in October, I think.
Yeah, it probably does. So do you still watch it, or do your family, like, what does everyone think of this movie?
Personally, I can't watch the whole thing. I watched it enough as a kid because when you do a movie as a youngster, your family wants to watch it with you. Your friends want to watch it with you. Your cousins, your aunts, your uncles,
Right.
Everybody wants to invite you over to the house to watch it with you as if you haven't seen it yet.
So you're constantly acting around your family while you're watching yourself acting,
That's
right?
so great.
Yeah, so I mean, I probably saw it, God knows, I don't know, 400 times. I'll watch just particular scenes that I like. I like, a few of the bully things, and then anything with Darren McGavin is great. Fragile, it must be Italian, and the Chinese restaurant. But actually watch my scenes, I just can't do it.
Right. Well, you have one of the most iconic scenes in the film with the pole and the tongue and the triple dog dare, as they called it.
Yeah, listen, I'm not degrading it in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying it's me, and I've seen it 400 times.
You did, man. You were there.
I'm married and divorced. I could almost like equate it because I have friends that have been married for many, many, many years, and it's like waking up the same morning next to the same chick. It's like, really? Okay.
Now you've got to do a lot of conventions and whatnot, and when you're out and you do stuff, what are the main things that when people come up and ask you about it? What do they ask you about that?
It's fans are wonderful and they're great. They all want to have their moment, and I understand it. I understand that they're not you, so they want to know that answer to the same question: how's your tongue? Was it real?
Oh man!
People said a plastic tongue. I'm like, no, it was a plastic bowl.
Bro, did you?
That's very typical, and I
Right.
mean, I've said it for years. It's a really cool thing to have done something where I was a small piece of a big puzzle,
Right.
and I worked for 6 weeks, and two things came out of it that are really what anybody would consider cool. Number one is some great people out of Indiana. They erected a full-size bronze statue of me with the tongue stuck to the pole.
that there is an incredible compliment.
That really is.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's like 26 or 27 actors in the world who have bronze statues. I'm one of them. It's hysterical.
That's really cool.
It is cool.
And the second thing is, it's also it's a compliment to basically have the second most famous tongue in the world after Gene Simmons.
Nice.
Oh man, that you said it perfectly. So when you were making A Christmas Story, did the cast, did the crew, did you guys understand what an iconic film it would be, or did you have no clue?
No, this was a movie that realistically never should have been made. I mean, that's sort of how things happen in craziness, the world we live in. This was not a movie that MGM wanted to make. They had no interest in it whatsoever. And Bob Clark had done a bunch of small budgeted things, and he did, Black Christmas, and he did Okay Fine, and did something else, Okay Fine. And then he hit Porky's. And
Oh,
Porky's
man.
is the exact opposite of A Christmas Story.
It sure
Yeah, you
is.
can't get any different. Yeah.
Oh, it's not the wholesome film. It's the furthest away. So he does Porky's, and they wanted him to do a sequel. They wanted him to do Porky's too, and he said, absolutely, right after I do A Christmas Story.
Right.
And they're like, no, you got to do Porky's right now. He's like, listen, Porky's is going to be a 10-week shoot, no special effects. It's going to get done real fast. I'm going to do my movie, A Christmas Story. They argued with him. They fought with him. They wouldn't give him a whole whopping $5 million to make A Christmas Story. They would only give him $4 million.
Oh, man.
You know,
Even after that success,
Today-
wow.
today that's like nothing. But Porky's had made so much money, they basically had no choice. This guy wants to make this little Christmas wholesome fun movie and then get back to penis jokes and Porky's too and and all that stuff that he did.
Man, MGM is very happy that they decided to let him do his film. I mean, look at the success.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Listen, they make A Christmas Story, they spent the money, then they didn't want to release it. They never wanted to put it in movie theaters.
Wow, I didn't know
And
that.
because Bob Clark owned a piece of the film, he called Darren McGavin and said, "Listen, I want to buy this thing out from them and release it." And Darren McGavin loved it. He said, "Absolutely, let's go do it." They started to talk to MGM about buying the film, and finally they said, "All right, listen, we'll just put this movie out. Shut up already."
Best decision
You know?
they ever made.
And it gets made, and we come out. The first week it did okay. The second week, all of a sudden, people started coming out. The theaters went up. The third week, the theaters went up. The fourth week, if my memory serves me, I think it was like Rambo 3 was coming out or something, and knocked us out of most of the theaters. And the following week, we were gone. We were in the theaters all of 1 month.
All right.
You know, they threw it on VHS. Then it started to become this cult thing. People are, have you seen this movie Christmas Story? No. Here's my VHS copy. You got to watch it.
Yeah, I remember that. I think I had a copy of that from somebody else. Yep.
Yes.
So people were at, and then it kind of sat there, and it just had this small cult following. And in '96, which is 13 years after the film comes out, Ted Turner was buying most all of MGM's film library, or a good piece of it. And the story, as I've heard it, is they needed 2 more movies to finish the package. Christmas Story was not even on their radar. Nothing. And Ted Turner's secretary heard that they needed a movie from MGM, and she knew Christmas Story. And she said to Ted, "Have you ever seen this movie?" And he said, "No." Well, what do you think she did? She went home, and the next day she brought in her VHS copy.
Wow, that's how it happened.
Ted and Jane Fonda watched it in the office, and they said, "Oh, this is wonderful." And so they called MGM, and they threw it into the package. And then, you know, they put it on the 24-hour marathon, and the rest is kind of the rest, you know?
The rest is history. The rest is
definitely history.
culture.
Yeah, in about a month or two, it's going to start playing again.
Again, yeah.
I mean, there's only been 2 films, well, 3 films they've done it with. They did it with The Wizard of Oz. They did it 1 year, and it did okay, and then they never did it again. Then they did it with the Jimmy Stewart picture, It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm-hmm.
They did it the first year. It did okay. They tried it again, and it didn't do so well, and that was the end of that. Then they did it with Christmas Story, and it started out okay. And then the ratings went up the next year, and then the ratings went up, and the ratings went up, and the ratings kept going up. And, you know, this is basically like the 20th anniversary of the marathon, and they still get over 50, 55 million, 60 million viewers.
Wow.
That in to a movie that's 30-something years old. That's on VHS, DVD, on demand, Netflix, Hulu, and it still shows.
You know, what that tells you is how timeless it is. That the generations, different generations are enjoying it. And I think it's going to continue.
Yeah,
as they say, I mean, not that we make much of anything from it. It's more just nice that, you know, for me, I guess, I get phone calls from friends of mine, you know, at all godly hours of the day and night. In the 90s, I was getting calls from, you know, Eric Davis and Cecil Fielder and Barry Bonds and all my baseball player friends and Shaquille O'Neal and what. Hey, dude, you're on. I'm like, it's 4:30 a.m. Are you seriously calling me, dude?
If you're gonna get called, those are some cool guys to get called by.
Oh, yeah.
4:30 in the morning.
Tell us about the toy.
Yeah, the toy.
We want to hear about the toy. You work with 2 legends. I mean, Jackie Gleason and Richard Pryor.
You know, an experience beyond imagination. You know, I'll start with Gleason. Everybody said he hates to work with kids and animals, and it's going to be a hard time. And I was a Gleason fan, so I knew him from the Honeymooners. I knew him from Smokey and the Bandit, and I would do impressions of him. And he thought it was absolutely hysterical.
Can
we get one?
Can you do an impression?
Of Gleason?
Yes.
Oh, okay. The scene where the guy knocks the door off the car, and Gleason comes up to Mike Henry, who plays Junior, and he goes, "There's no way that you could come from my loins. First thing I'm going to do is punch your mama in the mouth."
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I remember that.
I remember that vividly.
That's where I started it, you know, and then it's, you know, "I saw that, you sumbitch. You're going to whittle your gwee. I've got the evidence." "Junior, put the evidence in the car." "But, Daddy, I put the evidence in the car. I'm going to fuck you, your ass in molasses."
Oh, man, that's awesome. He was so talented.
So Gleason thought it was funny that here's a kid who's 4'5". I weighed a whole whopping 52 pounds, and I'm doing him. And he enjoyed it. He really enjoyed it to the point where he took the time over the course of the shooting to help me, educate me. He taught me how to shoot pool in the house.
Whoa.
How cool is that?
You know, it was phenomenal. You know, we had good, fun conversations about vintage Hollywood. I was a big fan of, you know, the old days. So it's like, you know, talking to him about music in the 50s with Sinatra, he loved it. I'm 14 years old. It was terrific.
Wow.
So I got along with him, and I mean, Richard Pryor, you know, there is no human on planet Earth I don't think has ever existed to be so kind, I don't want to say careful, caring for me, caring for a kid, generous with his time, fun, was studious, and wanted to be a teacher at the same time. He'd be sitting reading a book, underlining something, and he'd ask me, "Hey, do you know much about World War II? Or do you know much about this or that?" or whatever it was. And he would share things with me and teach me. You know, and that lasted the entire time we were on the set, off the set, after the set, and up until the time when he couldn't even talk anymore. You know, he was my friend, he was my older brother, my muse.
Right.
Wow.
Beyond belief. Before you guys had started the thing, we had talked about coming to America. Yeah, well, that all was Richard. That all became because of Richard. I'm at his house one day, and we were chit-chatting, and something came on with Eddie Murphy, and I mentioned that I was a fan of Eddie Murphy's or whatever, and then he's like, "Who else do you like?" And I was mentioning a bunch of people and whatever, and he's like, "Well, do you listen to, you know, the comedy albums?" And I said, "Honestly, not really." I said, "I've listened to yours." I said, I've listened to a couple of Red Fox albums. I like them, but not as much as you, or whatever. And about a week later, he calls me up. It's like 11:30 in the morning. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing. Come on over to the house." So I go over to the house. As soon as I walked in, we walked back out. I'm like, "Where we're going?" He goes, "Doesn't matter. Come on, let's get the car." Now, you have to picture this. This is a, 40-something-year-old African-American gentleman driving the white boy in the white Rolls Royce.
What a great visual.
See what that looks like, yeah.
That's awesome.
So we go down into Hollywood. He takes me into Paramount. And if you know anything about the studios, you pull up to the gate, and the guy says, "Can I help you?" Blah, blah, whatever. The guy looked at us, looks in the car, and goes, "Oh, Mr. Pryor, how are you, sir? You go right ahead." So
Respect.
we pull onto the Paramount lot, and he takes me up to the sound stage, and the sign says, "Coming to America." Well, I don't know what that is. Remember, it's not made yet. It's just in production, so nobody knew what it was. And I walk in the door, we walked around for 4 minutes, and there's Eddie Murphy. And Richard brings me over and says, "Hey, Eddie, this is my boy Scotty from the toy. You know my little buddy?" "Yeah, this is my little brother." That was it. I was in.
Wow. You're there with two legends.
How awesome is that, man? Wow.
listen, I mean, I was there for a whole day, so I met James Earl Jones, and I met John Amos, who's still one of my good friends, and everybody in Arsenio and whatever, and, you know, I'm Richard's boy, which was fine.
Right.
It's okay for a little Jewish kid to be a black man's kid.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
No, you know,
What-
by far, though, the most incredible human being I will ever meet. It would take a miracle for anybody to knock him off, you know, that platform.
Then, thank you for sharing that, because a lot of people, ourselves included, didn't even know the depths of how he was like that.
Yeah, the relationship that you had with Richard, and it's great.
And listen, I mean, you know, I guess it had to be about the time I had started working at the Comedy Store in the late 80s, and I was seeing Richard a lot, and we were at, Mel's Diner on Sunset one night, and it was late, and we kind of were sitting in the back, and his back was to the door so nobody could really see him and come over and bother him, whatever. And I said something, I said, listen, you have no ego. You are who you are. I mean, I know you're Richard, but you have no ego. How is that possible? And he looked at me, dead square in the face, as serious as a heart attack, and he goes, and how much does ego pay?
Yes.
And I said, well, nothing. It's a mindset. He goes, I understand that, but is it beneficial to me, my family, my home, my car payment, any of that? And I said, well, no. He said, and why bother to have it?
That's incredible.
Wow, that is.
It's spot on.
Yeah, that's
Spot on.
What a thing for you to learn from someone like that, and this, that's amazing, Scotty.
I mean, you took it one step further. Don't you celebrate him every year with something called the 10 Days of Richard Pryor?
Honestly, I celebrate him every day, 365.
Right.
He's in me. He instilled things in me. He taught me things. He showed me a path, as and it's funny because I was at a certain age. I had my 14th birthday while we were shooting the film. So I'm pre-puberty. He would say to me, we would actually be sitting on our director's chairs, and he'd look at me and say, so what do you think of her? And I'd be like, oh, she's pretty hot. He'd go, yeah, she was in my room last night.
Oh, that's so great. Yo, man, when I watched a toy and you were in that warehouse, it was like your room with the pinball machines and everything. As a kid, I was like, man, I want to be in that room.
Yeah.
What did you feel like being on the set as a 14-year-old?
I started, it was a job. I mean, that's sort of like how I have to sort of put this in perspective.
Right.
The beginnings of it was a job. I mean, the first day was a disaster. That's a whole different story. But once I got past that first maybe week, it wasn't a job anymore. They made it fun. Richard made it fun. Richard Donner made it fun. The crew guys made it fun. I had a pinball machine in my hotel room. They said, what do you like to do when you're not on the set? And I said, well, I play pinball. I used to play at the 42nd Street Arcade in Manhattan in New York, and I even have a certificate. I'm a pinball wizard.
Nice.
Nice.
So I play pinball. They said, oh, okay, no problem. They didn't even say anything to me. I got back to the room, and one of those haunted mansion pinball machines was in my room.
Wow.
They
took care of you, man.
Yeah, that was good looking out.
At the time, you guys are probably in the vicinity of my age.
We are.
Mid to
Yeah.
late 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And Mattel in television had just come out. And so you had Atari 2600, and you had Mattel in television.
Right.
I had them both. I know what you're talking about.
Yep, me too.
And they sent over 5 machines because we were promoting the film in the toy store where I get Richard. When you're seeing him in the Wonder Wheel, kind of a side view behind us, you see a big sign, Mattel and television. Great. They sent over 5 machines. So they gave me one. So I had Burger Time and Asteroids and Missile Command.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you're bringing back some memories.
So I had those games. Well, one of the other people who got one was Richard. The normal schedule 5 days a week, 11 to 11:30 p.m. local time in Louisiana, in Baton Rouge. The Honeymooners was on television on the local station. 11:32, my phone would ring. Scotty, it's Richard. Come to my room. What's going on? No, I just got to talk to you. Come on over. Okay. So I'd walk across the courtyard where we were, and I'd go up to his room. What's going on? Listen, I just got this new game, Donkey Kong. Come on, we got to play.
Oh, man. One of my all-time favorites.
and we would play video games until 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I would go back to my room, pass out until 6. They would pick me up in the car. I'd go back to sleep until I got over to the set, get over there, jump in the makeup chair, have a cup of coffee and a bagel, and I was ready to go.
You were living the dream, man.
Yeah,
you were
bro.
living the dream.
You were. I remember the scene where you and Richard were driving those kind of like go-karts around the lawn, crashing and everything. I feel like that must have been the time of your life.
Listen, they taught me how to ride a motorcycle. I was riding a Yamaha 40 and a Yamaha 60. And then we had the little cars, the little white Camaro sports car thing in the truck and whatever. And listen, it was party central. You know, everybody looks at things differently. Was there a job to do? Absolutely. I had everything down before I walked off the plane. I knew everybody's lines. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And Richard Donner was cool enough that he just said, hey, listen, go with what you think is good. You know, work with Richard. Talk to Richard. He'll tell you, prior. He'll tell you what, okay, good. And that was it. And we made it fun.
Yeah, man, you could tell, even watching the film, you could tell how much it's just a fun film to watch.
It looked like you had a real good time. Might have been a job, but it really looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. Tell us something that's really close to your heart about the minor consideration. What is that all about?
A minor consideration is a 501c4 charity, which means we can change laws. A 501c3 is no different, except you can't do legislation. And what it is, it's for child labor laws across the spectrum. Actors, singers, dancers, musicians, models, all those things, to make sure that laws are enforced and created to protect children in the entertainment industry.
Wow, that's much needed.
There's been so many stories of parents just pissing kids' money away, taking advantage of them. Unless they shoot in California or New York or Chicago or a few other states, there's no labor laws. This is actually on the books. It was done in the 30s when the studio heads, when Louis B. Mayer and Jack Warner ran the studios, and it was a family. It was treated as a family. So when you had the Shirley Temples and Jackie Coogans and Mickey Rooney's as a kid, they were protected because the studio heads made sure they were okay. The studio heads went to the lawmakers and said, listen, don't overburden us with children. There are children. They said, okay. To this day, the law is still active that says children in the entertainment industry are federally exempt from working laws.
Oh, wow.
Now, if you think about what that means, if you a dog, a pony, any kind of an animal on a set, there's approximately 120 pages of legislature to protect that animal.
Right.
You bring a child, a human child on a set, there's 3 paragraphs.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, and there's many, many states that have no child labor laws. They say we don't have to. Hey, it's covered. You guys are federally exempt.
Is that why you see a lot of films and TV shows going out of Hollywood and shooting in other states?
Of course.
Right.
You've got more studios going up in Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Louisiana. They have very, very few labor laws to begin with, let alone child labor laws.
Right.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that I always say is we are a product. We are not a person. Children on a set are products. They use them, they get done with them, they're on to the next one. It's the Rubik's Cube effect. You are hot today and you're not hot tomorrow.
Right.
You know, so part of what I particularly specialize in is I like to talk to the kids. I say, listen, I know you're 12 years old. I know you're on this TV series making $40,000 a week, which they don't even comprehend what that means. You know?
Yeah, they have no idea.
Yeah, they're 12.
Yeah. And I try and explain to them that being an actor is a wonderful job, but it's the worst job in the world because you make no decisions. You can be the greatest actor that has ever been created. However, if the guy across the table is looking for somebody 2 inches shorter or 2 inches taller, you don't get that job. You're looking for a kid with blue eyes, you have hazel eyes. Oh, you're out. They want blonde, you're brunette, you're out. They want Henry Thomas is a good example. Dead serious. I used to call him the Al Pacino of the kids. Serious. Maybe, you know, before Pacino did a little comedy, but very serious. Whereas me, I was a wild card. I was fun and crazy and laughing. I was more the Gleason, Pryor, let's go have a good time kid. Save your money. Understand this is not going to last forever. Save your money. Be smart. You're on a set, especially kids on TV series. I tell them every week, you're shooting. What do you want to do? Oh, I've had kids. I want to be a producer. Great. Do you sit in on the producers' meetings? Well, no, I just watch them. Forget that. Go ask the producer if you can sit in on a production meeting. I guarantee you he'll say yes. Because A, he wants you to be happy and not upset. And B, if you're showing that much interest, he wants to see what you can do. You want to direct, you want to produce, you want to write, go sit on those meetings. You will learn so much. Just walk in, keep your mouth shut, and your eyes and your ears open, and you will get a free education that will last you until you're dead, and you will always have a job.
Yeah, man, that's great advice.
That's really smart, especially for starting so young. Where are you at right now as far as minor consideration? Are you pushing for any particular legislation? How far along are you?
Oh, we've changed legislature. It started in 1989 by Paul Peterson, who was on the Donna Reed show, and he started it for a different reason. He started it for people in need. They needed to talk to somebody. A friend of his committed suicide, and he wanted to make a group of people who had been there. They had done that. So if somebody, you know, mentally is in trouble, they can talk to somebody. We have doctors now. We have lawyers. We have, doctors in all phases, whether it's a surgeon or whether it's a psychiatrist. You need something and you call us, and as we say, you qualify, meaning you were a child actor. We're going to get you to the right person.
Right.
You know, none of us get paid. It's not a paying gig. You know, this isn't, you know, Stand Up to Cancer where they have a board and everybody makes $250,000 a year to do this. We make nothing. I give anywhere from 10 to 25 hours a week talking to people. I had a young actress called me yesterday. She did a lot of stuff in the 70s. Her parents pissed all of her money away. I said, personally, I don't know statute of limitations, what can or cannot be done, but this is the attorney to talk to. He specializes in this kind of stuff, entertainment law.
You could definitely tell you're passionate about it. I mean, and who better to talk about it than someone like you, you know, in your position coming up how you did.
Yeah, bro, you're an advocate, and it shows how much you care about these kids. They need people like you, because when you're 12, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you don't.
Oh, and I mean, honestly, I hit the point where, and I say this, and I don't say with any disrespect to anybody, but I got tired of losing peers and friends. You know, Dana Plato goes, and Haim went, and Gary Coleman went, and Jonathan Brandis, you know, hung himself. And, you know, what is it going to take? How many DUIs do we need to see? How many drugged out kids do we need to see? And, I mean, on a big scale, is there drugs everywhere? Yes. Whether it's Oklahoma, Mississippi, or L.A., it doesn't matter. There's kids on speed and on crack and on and you know, uppers, downers, whatever. That was just never me. But kids in show business, you're under the microscope. Something happens, it gets blown way out of proportion in most cases. How do we prevent that? You know, you got a 15-year-old kid on a Disney show, he's beginning to hang out with the wrong crowd, and his parent is concerned. And I did this. That's why I'm sort of telling the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to the mom. I went to see the kid. I said to her, listen, I said, I'm going to take your son out for a little drive. You'll be fine. Just, you got to take my word for it. And she's like, okay. And I took out to the kid on the Sunset Boulevard, and I stopped in front of the Viper Room.
Oh, River Phoenix.
And I stopped him right there, and I said, listen, I said, do you know who River Phoenix is? Now, the kid's 15 years old. He says, no, I have no idea who that is. I said, okay. I said, you are standing on the spot that he OD'd. He dropped dead exactly where you're standing. He's like, okay. I said, he was a child actor, just like you. And he started hanging out with the wrong crowd, just like you. It starts out with a little smoking of pot and a little drinking, and then it goes to different places. And then we continued to talk, and I got back in the car, and we went someplace else and talked, and then I took him home, and I said, listen, I said, you know the work I've done. You've been watching me for years, and he was a big fan. I said, I have one request. It's sort of your homework that's going to take you about 3 minutes. He's like, okay. I said, go on Google and look up the Wikipedia page for River Phoenix. I want you to read it. Just think about it and put yourself in his shoes at the age and what you're doing. I said, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not your daddy. I'm just going to tell you, we don't want to see this happen to you. We want you to be happy, be wealthy. By the time you're 18 or 20 years old, you don't have to work another day in your life, but have a good life, a fun life. And he looked at me and said, okay. And I talked to his mom for a few minutes, and I went home. She called me up 2 weeks later. She's like, my kid hasn't said 5 words about you. But on the other hand, he has not seen those people. He hasn't been drinking. He hasn't been smoking pot. And I don't even know how to begin to thank you. I said, you don't have to thank me. Him listening and learning is thanks enough. I wanted to just put this in this kid's head.
Right.
And it worked.
Yeah, you made a point, and he listened.
Wow, big props to you,
yeah,
bro.
bro, that's awesome.
Really, a lot of respect.
It's tough. Now, I'll give you the other side of the coin. Frankie Munoz, I'll even tell you who he is. He was doing Malcolm in the Middle. He's making $500,000-$600,000 a week. And next door to their soundstage, the other back of the soundstage, was a show called Titus that was shooting on Fox. The younger brother in Titus was Zach Ward, who played Scott Farkas the bully in Christmas Story.
Oh, okay.
So he and I are friends, and I'm going over the set all the time. And one of the crew guys from Malcolm in the Middle came over to me and said, Scotty, can you try and talk some sense into this kid's head, please? He's an idiot. I said, okay. And we would shoot basketball all the time on the side of the soundstage. So I knew Frankie. He was cool, okay. And one day I said, listen, you're in season like 9 or 10, whatever it was. You got a couple more years to go. What are you going to do after this? He said, I'm going to produce. I said, that's wonderful. Are you going to the production meetings? No. Then how are you going to know how to produce? Well, I'll figure it out. Okay. If that doesn't work, what else? Well, I want to write. That's wonderful. Are you going and sitting in with the writers? No. How are you going to learn how to write? Oh, well, I can read a script. Great. Strike 2. So I said, let's just say, for all intents and purposes, that doesn't work. What are you going to do? The answer of the decade, I'm going to become a race car driver.
Wow.
Well, that's the answer of the decade, bro.
He said that. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if you watch Fox or ever watched the Indianapolis 500. I don't see Frankie Munoz sitting in the car.
No, me either.
Yeah, bro, I haven't seen that.
It took him a couple of years, and he burned through all the money, lost the multi-million-dollar house in Malibu, and where do you see him now?
Nowhere.
You don't. Exactly.
You know, some you can call saving. I don't call it saving. I call it helping, you know, because I'm a little bit older and I'm a little bit wiser. And I just say, listen, I know you're on top of the world. I understand that. However, the gravy train is going to end. Believe it or not, guys, I swear to you, and I just got to think for a minute. This was 2 weeks ago, so this is the first interview I've done since this happened. I ran into Justin Bieber.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
He was at Jerry's Deli in Studio City. And I had just left, and he was going in. And I said, oh, this is going to be fun. I said it to myself. He was there with two of his boys in the booth, and one guy sitting on the outside. And I went up to him and introduced myself. He didn't have a clue. He didn't know who the hell I was. His boys knew who I was, though. So I'm talking to him, and I'm giving him the speech.
Wow.
And he's like, looking, okay, that sounds good. Okay, whatever. I talked to him for a few minutes. Maybe 10% of it got in, maybe not. Listen, you can lead the horse to water, you can't make him drink. Okay, fine. So the other guy that was standing outside the booth, he came over and he said, hey, they're going to order. And I said, oh, okay, fine. And I started talking to him. The first thing he says to me is, who the hell are you?
Huh.
Nobody talks like that. Nobody has any concern. Nobody has any care. They want an autograph and a photo op, and they want to go gaga because they're in front of Justin Bieber. And he goes, you could have been talking to anybody. And I said, that's right. I said, the kid's sitting there. He eats, sleeps, and bleeds just like I do. I said, the difference is he's got 9 zeros in his bank account, and I don't. I'd like him to save his 9 zeros so when this all ends, by the time he's 30 or whatever, and he's yesterday's news, he never has to look back with any regrets. And he's got plenty of money to do anything in the world that he wants. If he wants to quit show business, buy a 100-acre ranch in Montana, he can do it.
Exactly.
And live happy ever after.
I think a kid actor who did it right, you worked with, the actor who played Ralphie in The Christmas Story, isn't he a big producer now?
Peter Billingsley runs, oh my God, Vince Vaughn's production company.
Wow. Yeah, he did Iron Man.
And that's, well, at the time, first he was friends with Jon Favreau for years. I mean, they go all the way back to the Rudy days, and from the story I understand is Favreau asked him if he could help a buddy of his out. He was coming to L.A., didn't know anybody. Sure, okay, fine, And even so much as gave the guy $100 for his headshots. And the guy said to him, if I ever make it in this town, you're my boy. And that guy was Vince Vaughn.
Whoa.
That is so cool.
Wow. Just from being cool and being a nice guy. That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's not even a matter of being a nice guy. If we're homies and you're my buddy and you say, hey, listen, you got a 2-bedroom apartment, I got a studio, I got nowhere to put this guy, he's a nice guy, he's an actor, he's coming up, help him out for a couple of weeks to get on his feet. Well, of course you're going to say yes. Your friend's asking you to do him a favor. Of course you're going to do it. You know, and it's, and I make a joke. I mean, I've done stand-up and whatever, and I say, listen, I've had 100 people sleep on my couch. Not one of these freaking people have ever done a goddamn thing.
Oh man, yeah. What do you think about? I'm real curious your opinion, because Jason and I had talked about this in a couple other episodes.
Yeah.
The whole Corey Feldman deal, because he was another big '80s kid actor, and I see him doing this crazy routine on the Today Show. I mean, did you see that?
What's your interpretation of that? Can you give us an interpretation?
Oh, they. Let's see. How do I want to say this to be semi-politically correct and not be politically correct? He is stuck in 1987. He's always been that way. He's the exact opposite of Richard Pryor, because Feldman's ego is bigger than the Grand Canyon. He believes the press. He believes who he is. And has he had an easy go of it? No. Most of it's been self-induced. When you piss it away on drugs and booze and broads, that's what happens. He has survived with a lot of luck. He has survived with a lot of people feeling sorry for him. He blamed his father for actually stealing his money, which was inaccurate. It's sort of like the debate last night. You could have put Feldman on that stage. Because basically 85% of the stuff that comes out of his mouth is bull. It's just total baloney. He blamed his father for stealing his money, which his father didn't do. I actually sat down with him one time and broke it all down with him. And it came down to $8,000 a year was missing, quote unquote missing. And I said to him, I said, this is funny because we haven't put a shirt of clothing on your back or food in your stomach. So now tell me how much money your father stole from you. And he said, oh, that can't be right. Okay, dude. You know, he said, I made this much money, $1.2 million, $1.3 million. I said, okay. He's like, well, I should have 1.3. I said, what life are you living? What planet are you on? I said, do you not understand you have cousins and uncles? He goes, what are you talking about? I said, your uncle, Uncle Sam. He's your favorite guy. You got to pay him 30%.
Oh, yes.
You got a cousin in the state of California. They want another 8 to 10%. Then you got an aunt. She's your agent. She takes another 10%. Then you got a PR guy. They're taking $4,000 a month. And I mean, it went on of just things that were completely oblivious. You know,
Wow.
He's got this Michael Jackson thing because that's what he thinks is cool. And, you know, and people laugh at him.
Yeah.
You know, he's pissed away more money doing albums that nobody's ever bought, you know, ever.
You know, it's funny you mentioned the Michael Jackson connection with Corey Feldman. I remember watching Dream a Little Dream, and even in that, he did this kind of dance in part of that movie where he seemed to be imitating Michael Jackson, and it continues today. So like you said, he's living in those times.
Yeah, he's stuck back there. You know, he wants to be Hugh Hefner because he's got his house with his girls, his angel girls, and they all wear the white wings and they do the lingerie and all the nonsense. And they have rules they have to live by in his house.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Craziness. It's crazy.
It's all out there. It's not like it's stuff that I'm saying it's inside information. He did celebrity wife swap with Tommy Davidson, and it was all there. His girlfriend got on Tommy Davidson's countertop naked, having sushi on her body so Tommy Davidson could eat it off there. And Tommy Davidson said, what are you doing? Get the hell out of my house.
This is like the polar opposite to everything you already talked to us about, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
What not to do. What not to do.
I mean, he's one of the, you know, I don't say bad things about many people. I believe in if you treat me with dignity and you treat me with respect, that's how I'm going to treat you. You don't, this is what you're going to get.
Yeah, man, it's sad. It is sad. Yo, and tell me what you've been working on. You said you have a new TV show. We need to hear about that.
Yeah.
The new TV show, it's called Flashback Fridays. It's on Vimeo on demand. So it's vimeo.com/on-demand/Flashback Fridays, just like it's pronounced. I've got a band behind me on stage. I've got 5 shows in the can so far, 2 with Anthony Michael Hall, 1 with Frankie Benet, the drummer from Quiet Riot.
Nice.
Frankie is awesome. We did a show with Jeremy Miller from Growing Pains, and a show with Michael Pare, who was the star of Eddie and the Cruisers and Streets of Fire.
Oh, yeah.
And many other films and TV shows.
Man, you have some great guests. We'll definitely get a link up for you on our website and our social media.
That'd be great. And I'm going to be shooting some more shows in about a month. You know, again, until I shoot them, I can't say, I'm going to have this person. If anything happens and people go, hey, you said this. No, I don't do that.
Right.
But, you know.
We'll stay on top of it.
Very fortunate that I've been around, you know, my first commercial shoot that I did was March of 1977. So as of the end of March of next year, we're 5-6 months away, I will have been in the business for 40 years.
Wow.
And I'm not screwed up. I'm not duped. I'm not on drugs. I don't drink more than maybe a glass of wine here and there. You know, I could tell you I've done cocaine 1 time in my life, but it was sort of, I didn't really have much of a choice. When women are getting naked, you got to do what you got to do. You know, I was 19 years old. I did it. And honestly, the next morning I got up and I made 1 phone call. Believe it or not, this is absolutely true. I called Richard Pryor.
Oh.
Wow.
And I said, did this last night and this is what happened. And he said, well, are you okay? And I said, yeah, you know, it was just something small and whatever. He says, well, you know, you pushed the envelope a little bit. You didn't go crazy, and I understand. And then all he wanted to talk about was how many of them did I shtup, and that was, you know,
Getting right to the important stuff.
Oh, man, that's great. But yeah, man, the TV show sounds exciting.
It sounds really cool.
Yeah, you were telling me that.
Maybe fun. We had I don't know if you know that by name, but the guy's name is Charlie Schlaughter.
I don't.
No,
The movie 18 Again with George Burns.
Oh, of course.
Like Freaky Friday and they change places.
yeah, I know that one.
I know the film.
Original swap things like a Freaky Friday. I remember those. When those came out.
And then he's the star of a movie called Heartbreak Hotel, where him and Tuesday Weld plays his mother. He kidnaps Elvis Presley, who David Keith is playing. They kidnap Elvis, and it's kind of this cute little movie, which is wonderful.
That sounds
so
really
he's
cool.
actually the drummer. He's the drummer and the leader in the band. So I asked him if he would come and do it, and he couldn't say yes fast enough because he and I are friends, and we had and it was great. So I mean, here we are on a stage, and we've got toys and games that are vintage from the 80s and 90s, and everything from Godzilla things to my little girl, my little doggy Miss Elizabeth. I made an action figure of her, a little Star Wars action figure, and I had WWF action figures and a Hulk Hogan cape from Thunder Lips from Rocky III.
Yo, man, you're a man after my own heart. You're a collector, and if you saw our studio, I have so much memorabilia and cool things. You would definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, you totally dig it.
Well, my dad's had for the last 28 years, going on 29 years. My dad's had a shop here in the Los Angeles area. It's called Sports and Movie Stuff, and it's in Simi Valley, California. And it's about 4,000 square feet of stuff.
Yo, Jason and I will make a trip there.
Pilgrimage.
Yeah, we have to see that.
It's walking in a museum. You want to see stuff from the 20s? No problem. You want to see stuff from the 70s and 80s and 90s? You got it. He doesn't buy the new Funko pop head things. That's not what he does. You want stuff Roy Rogers, Hopalong Cassidy, vintage Disney.
Authentic.
Yeah, the vintage stuff.
Photos, toys, games, dolls, action figures, any of that kind of stuff, that's what you come there for.
Did Scotty, did you keep any props from your films or, memorabilia?
The toy, I have my military uniform, I have my motorcycle uniform. I had the Spider-Man pajamas. Somewhere the bottoms, they grew legs and ran away, but the top I still have.
I remember those.
Some other shirts and stuff that they gave me. Christmas Story, zero. Nothing. It was all rented stuff.
Oh, okay.
It was all rented wardrobe.
With that budget you mentioned earlier, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, $4 million doesn't go far.
I mean, Peter has one of the bunny suits that they made for him because it was specially made for him. And the kid that plays Randy, the little brother, Ian Petrella, he has one of the snow suits because, again, they made it specially for him. And they gave him the Zeppelin. They gave him the Zeppelin from the Christmas tree scene.
Nice. Cool.
Outside of that, nothing. And then I did another film called Kidco. And, I got a few pieces. I know I got my boots, and I got a couple of shirts somewhere. They're in boxes,
That's cool, man. That's cool. It's the memories.
I was really, when I was doing the toy, I was after Richard stuff. Even back then, I was like, I wanted his Spider-Man pajamas, and I asked him one time for his. I went on the set when he was shooting Brewster's Millions, and because they shot in Manhattan in New York, and he introduced me to John Candy and all that, and that was great and whatever. And I told him I wanted the Chicago Cubs thing because I was always a diehard Yankee fan. And that was always my first team, and the second team was always the Cubs. And he's like, one of these days I'm going to find this shirt and send it to you, and it just never happened. That's just the way things go. I just never bothered him for it again.
Right. Yeah, you were telling me we have a lot of listeners who watched a dance show that Jason and I were on, Dance Party USA, and you mentioned that you remember the show. Is that true?
Yes, I knew a member of the cast, yes.
Cool. Cool.
Yes. Well, her first name was Casey. I don't know what she went back then as a last name, but she was one of the dancers on the show with during Kelly's time there, and
right.
She was my ex-wife.
Oh, we have a connection.
There we go.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're from Jersey, so the show is really big in the tri-state area, and Yeah, man, we had a lot of fun.
Well, listen, if you guys are big in the tri-state area, October 28th, 29th, and 30th, that's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, is the Chiller Theater show. It's in Parsippany, and you can go to chillertheater.com.
Chiller
They've
Theater.
got about 7 celebrities there, including Meatloaf and from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and Tim Curry is doing an appearance. He's going to do photo ops.
Nice.
And there's a group of celebrities. I will be there handling some of the folks. Michael Pare will be there. Frankie Banali will be there.
Good lineup.
Holly Field, who did Wishmaster and some voiceover stuff for Shrek and one of the Star Wars animated series. Still working some things out with a few other people, but it's a great show. If people like science fiction, horror, sci-fi, any kind of movies, at all, their dealer's room is a couple of hundred dealers of memorabilia stuff. And, of course, there's like 70 celebrities to come out and see. So, it's Chiller Theater in Parsippany.
Cool.
What's the date again? What are the dates?
October 28th, 29th, and 30th.
Yeah, do you ever make it to Vegas?
Oh, sure. I have friends in Vegas. Actually, I don't want to forget her name because she's one of the guests that's going to be there, is Terry Weigel.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I remember her.
And Terry Weigel was actually on Married with Children. She's the great-looking brunette who comes in and she's like, Shoe Man, you got to help me, Shoe Man. And they always stuff and the guy that's Darcy's husband, and I can't remember his name in the show now.
Oh, I know who he is. I could see his face. I don't know his name either.
Sir Darcy. He would always say, "No, I'm sorry, we're closed." And she goes, "That's funny. Most of the time they close the door when I'm inside." And then she leaves. She was a Playboy playmate.
I remember
was
her.
in Return of the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh, yeah,
She plays
big one.
George Friend.
I think I remember that VHS cover.
That's cool, man. Yo, bro, it was a great time talking to you. Did you enjoy your conversation, or what do you think?
Oh, these are great. This is fun.
Awesome. We'll definitely hook up with you in L.A. in the future. You got to bring us over to your father's store. That
That would
sounds
be
incredible.
Yeah, I mean, if you're coming here, that's good. If I'm going to Vegas, I'll let you know. My friend is the vice president of the Arena Football League. Their offices are in Vegas. They're off the 215. So
Great.
Anytime,
I got other
man.
friends there. So I come out that way.
Anytime.
Awesome, bro. We really appreciate it, and we'll definitely be speaking to you again.
Thanks, Scotty.
Take
You
care.
guys be well, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
You
Take
got
care,
it,
bro.
man. You're the man. Thanks.
Now, bro, that was a ton of fun.
That was great.
He's so cool, man. He's like just one of the guys.
He's one totally. We'd be sitting here right now having a beer or whatnot, and he's just so
Exactly.
cool.
And he that new show he's working on, he said his first guest that he's working on a TV show is Anthony Michael Hall, and that's a great first guest.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that show.
I'm excited to see what they talk about. 'Cause
Exactly.
they're boys from back in the day. These guys.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
running around doing all those movies together. So there you go. There's Scotty Schwartz. There's some inside scoop on, that movie we all know backwards, forwards, inside out, and
Yep.
yeah.
He also gave us a great insight about the toy and about his personal relationship with Richard Pryor, which I really loved hearing about.
Me too.
I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, you don't know any of that. And the fact that Jackie Gleason embraced him, he didn't like pets
Exactly.
or kids.
You know what's amazing that Scott was standing between Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor, two legendary comics and actors.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah. Wow. So when we're planning a little trip out to LA to go talk to a couple people, and we're definitely going to see Scotty and go check out the
Yeah, we want to check out his memorabilia store with
Yeah,
his
his
pops.
dad's place. Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of fun. We'll definitely do that. So, is it that time?
It is that time. Come on. I think we have a little theme.
I'm not doing a jingle. You do it.
No, but you did a great one last time.
The mailbag.
That's
It's
it.
the mailbag.
It is
Hey.
it.
Give me the mailbag.
That's it. Great. You're awesome.
Oh, shit. So, what do we got? What do we have?
You've got some comments, don't you? Or you want me to read the
Okay,
email?
I'll read the comments
Yeah,
first.
read the comments.
These are from our social media places like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You like that?
I like that. Direct messages.
First one is from Patty Maracona. She wrote before.
Okay.
Patty's one of our listeners. She says, I think this was the funniest podcast yet. Between you guys being so silly and the little clips you were playing, I was cracking up driving to work. Love that you have made your glitches part of the show. Shows you what good sports you both are. As always, great show.
Ah, see, that's nice.
We are good sports. We actually, the glitches is part of
That's the best fun.
it's actually a big part of the show. We enjoy busting each other's chops.
Yeah, we rib each other, and it's all in good fun.
it's all in
We've been
love.
doing it forever. Yeah.
Yeah. Next one is from Katarina Denise. She says the podcasts are great. Bobby and Jason, keep it up. The 80s rock, and so does Bobby and Jason.
Yeah, rock. Like it.
Rock. Thank you, Katarina. And the last comment is from Christian Kennedy Preachers. She says, I am finally getting to listen to the first episode. Going to listen to the rest this week. Well, you're going to be very busy if you're going to listen to all of them. There's like 15 now. She said, so many memories. I got a chance to be on a couple of the multi-filming days of the show.
The show.
And it was a great time. It was. Back in the day, it was a lot of fun.
Back in the day, it was really cool.
It was fun. So what do you got?
You're like, yeah, it was fun. It's funny. Okay, Holly Klovitz. I don't think I could screw this up.
What's up, Holly?
What's up, Holly? Here we go. It's a short one, but it's a good one. Dumbest, awesomest Bobby and Jason podcast ever. Ah, okay.
I like it.
Listening to you guys brings it all back. I'm a kid again. I still have a picture of Bobby he signed when I mailed him. Mail. There you go.
Okay, get it right.
It was mailed back in the 80s. Love the Facebook page. One day I'll get brave and I'll say something. Well, I'm in the same boat with you, Holly. P.S. Love your dog babies. Love Holly.
We
Oh.
love our dog babies too.
There we go.
We got Harley the Frenchie and Jason's pug.
Sammy the pug. Come on, pal.
Sammy the pug.
Yeah.
Sammy's very cute and very healthy.
And yeah, exactly.
Plump.
And Harley is very, very yippity yappity sometimes.
Yeah, she's full of energy, that one.
As a matter of fact, I think in this podcast she makes an appearance during the end. You'll hear Harley. I think so. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so.
Well, bro, it's over.
What a show!
It's sadly over, and it was a great show. Scotty
great show.
Schwartz, the man, the myth, the legend.
So I double dog dare you, Roberto. Give me a little countdown out of here.
Okay, this podcast will self-destruct in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Boom!
Boom! We'll see you later, everybody.
Take it easy, everyone.